Greetings, this is Tarot Illumination, 22nd of March 2023. Greetings, I hope you get something out of this. It is a Wednesday, late morning, over here, sunny Las Vegas. So, I'm scanning things from way out, like the Jupiter perspective, the Sagittarius perspective, the ninth house perspective. I have to, because there is so much freaking clutter everywhere at the global scale as the chaos gets deeper and deeper, as we all flap around at the 0-degree mark of Pluto in Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces. That's a lot of upheaval and change that humans aren't used to simultaneously, especially because they're so big and so powerful, all happening right now. I just want to rattle through a list of stuff that concerns me. I'm going to share it with you. I'm not at the studio right now, but I feel I have to get this out as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'd be derelict. I'll probably catch up and do some actual studio videos anyway with proper charts and anything. But I just wanted to rattle through a few things for you and with you. And I want to touch on the astrology first, and then I'm going to go to a few headlines that really concern me. So, we just had an Aries new moon, okay? And it's a large cluster. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Chiron, and Jupiter all piled up there in Jupiter, in Aries. So it's very much, I feel that this is very much about you, the person, you, the people, we, the people, and getting to know ourselves better than we ever have done before. And in so doing, we're starting this new moon, and we will have a full moon in 2 weeks. And by the time we reach the full moon, the moon will be in Libra opposing the Aries, and we'll have a clear picture. And the clarity will come through the dynamic of relationship. I'm not talking about you and your sweetheart or you and your pet, but you and the rest of the world and the significant relationships that you share. And I believe a lot of that will come through your, let's say, political views and perspectives, where that might be coming unglued, especially if you are, let's say, no insult, but lacking in awakening, lacking in awareness. You were only just coming into awareness, you could be in for a serious shock. So, that aspect. But it could also be learned through significant one-on-one relationships. Who are you? How are you? Why are you the way you are? And then putting yourself first instead of allowing yourself to be the perpetual victim. Consider putting yourself first. Now, that doesn't mean you have to declare yourself as an egomaniac or a narcissist or whatever. It just means being your true self without apologizing and understanding that everyone else has the right, duty, and obligation to be that way too. It requires respect. And the whole idea of a certain group of other people who are not you, especially an extremely elite group of other people who are not you, basically taking a position that they believe in their world that they have duties, rights, and obligations to take total power, money, and control from you. That leads to deprivation of you and for you. And this will happen. Guaranteed to happen. And the way it happens is because you're either unconscious and it just happens, or you are conscious and you are letting it happen. But either way, you're giving it away. It's time to wake up. It's a very, very rude awakening that you are responsible for the outcome and the joy in your life. Happiness is a choice. And being yourself in your most authentic identity is the closest thing to happiness. I'm talking about happiness in terms of true happiness deep at the core of your heart, not happiness that's generated through like drink, drugs, parties, alcohol, running around chasing, let's say, material three-dimensional trivia. I'm talking about the happiness and joy that cannot be stolen. It's yours and it's internal. Somebody else, other entities, particularly evil entities, could have what they think of as excellent ideas for you. And I'll come to that in a minute, but I think of it at the very top of the pile is the global banking system. All right, so this is the next thing I'm going to talk about is a little bit strange because I'm not used to it. And it's making me puzzled, but it looks like we have the eclipse coming up, but it's like an Aries new moon eclipse, so it's like two Aries new moons, very close, but they are at the very extreme edges of the degrees, like 0 degrees at one we just had, the one we're just having, and 29.5 degrees where we're heading. So the theme is going to repeat. But with the eclipses, something is always eclipsed, removed, taken away. You know, if you watch my channel, I think of eclipses as evolutionary gateways where we are effectively squeezed into a situation from which you can try to escape, but you're just sending yourself back down the evolutionary ladder, creating more pain for your so-called future. And so it can feel as though you're being pushed possibly somewhere uncomfortable that you don't want to go. Now, if you don't like the feeling or the process of awakening and it feels very uncomfortable to you, you might seriously be trying to resist or deny what's actually happening on Earth today with the planets, the global politics, the global financial system, tyranny, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, the massive evil agenda that is being attempted to spread across the whole of humanity. It might be just easier to comply, like, oh, well, it's going to be okay, I've still got my TV shows, I've still got my best sports team, I still got a little bit of gasoline in my car if I'm an American, and all the other places in the world I don't really care about too much. I can go down the road and get a piece of fast food, and yeah, it's a lot more expensive than it used to be, but I'm still okay. Americans are comfortable, or perhaps very comfortable, and have been for since the 1946, above and beyond anything known previously to humanity. But we've become jaded. That's how I see it. Excuse me. And so the wake-up call for you, the individual, is going to be a double dose, double duty over the next few weeks, few months. The question is, how are you going to respond? How are you going to deal with it? So, yeah, this particular eclipse is coming up. Let me show you. I've got all my notes here. Look. I don't know if you can see that. That's my condensed notes. So we've got the eclipse today. Sorry, we've got the new moon today. So take advantage of that. Check your chart. Find out where is the 0 to 1 degree point of Aries in your chart. And do your homework. Do your own research. If you're having troubles, get in touch with me and we'll book a private reading. That's fun. Now, 4 weeks later, we're heading to an eclipse. That's the 29-degree Aries new moon eclipse, okay? And that's on the 20th of April, okay? So the same theme that I was talking about the self relative to the other, starts again. But there will be no full moon conclusion. It'll just be an amplification of the new moon vibe, because 2 weeks later, as always with eclipses, they come in pairs. The next eclipse is a full moon eclipse, but that is fully bedded into the Scorpio Taurus axis at 14 degrees. So you all know what that means. Eclipses basically obscure, obstruct, remove things that are unessential and no longer relevant, and so that evolution can proceed. So when I look at this eclipse, I'm looking squarely into the face of the global financial system, the banking system, especially at the pinnacle of the banking system, the United States Federal Reserve Bank, and plus the United States, excuse me, I kind of put a little itch. I forgot my allergy med this morning. I don't want to sneeze right now. Oh man, sorry. I know that looks like I'm sticking a finger up my nose, but I'm not really. Oh no, oh no. Sorry. So, with 14 degrees, we're at maximum power. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio. It's the opposition. It's the world of real money, hard money, gold, silver, income-producing real estate, hard commodities like, I don't know, gold, sort of like oil, timber, land, water, anything that is high intrinsic value, measurable in terms of hard commodities, as opposed to a speculative asset like a house or a car or a college degree or a credit card or some kind of speculative debt on what apparently might be an awesome business. Okay, debt. Okay, some of you know that the whole of the global financial system is a massive, massive fraud, a massive Ponzi scheme that has been perpetrated, propagated very effectively, very efficiently, and officially enshrined in the world at 1913 when the United States Federal Reserve Act was born and made active. It's spectacular how well the fraud has worked, especially for the perpetrators of the fraud. The dark side is that the victims of the fraud appear to do well, but in fact end up as victims. Debt cows engaged and married to slaves in a slave camp. That's the China-America equation. China, America. I don't have my maps in front of me, so I'm not going to go on about it too much. But basically, what is happening in the United States with the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank in collusion with the U.S. Treasury and the federal government is a recipe for a massive meltdown. If you watch the financial channels and sources, some of the things that I do, they've been talking about it for years, years and years. But I see this one as an exceptionally powerful timestamp for an exceptionally powerful meltdown. What that would mean in traditional terms is a massive run on the banks, banks imploding, you, the people, losing your money. So here we go. I'm going to start diving into my personal notes now. I mentioned the eclipses. So on a global scale with Aries new moon, the Aries new moon eclipse, and the full moon eclipse, May 5th. So we got to watch out for that. Things are going to get very, very bouncy, bumpy, and frightening across the world, especially the financial aspects. So do whatever you can. Buy gold, buy silver, stack cash. Just do something to reduce your risk, okay? Become a prepper. Get yourself sorted out with self-defense, things like that. The reason I say these things is because in my own strange way, I'm a bit of a prepper too. And most of the preppers and hardcore, genuine prepper channels and teachers are advising you to literally prepare for a global meltdown. Some of the scary movies are even about EMPs that completely wipe out everything and take us back to pre-industrial era, not even any electricity. So the important things are clean air, clean water, some food, okay, and shelter and self-defense. It's that critical, okay? Anyway, enough about all that scary stuff. When I look at the eclipse on May the 5th, I'm tracking back to the notes from Janet Yellen today. She's the Treasury Secretary here in the United States. And because of the recent meltdowns, her latest suggestion, in fact, she's hoping to get this passed, is that she is proposing, instead of the FDIC, that's the insurance company that protects your funds apparently, which is basically useless, instead of them covering it up to $250,000 and the other trillions just melt away into nothing, she is suggesting that in order to stop the banking implosion that is inevitable, she's suggesting that the United States government backs up everything 100%. Now, I don't know if you can see the insanity here, but that's what it is. She's basically suggesting that the government will bail out all the banks for trillions, 20, 30 trillion dollars, to keep the banks going and doing what they do. And so we can all pretend everything is still great. How can we put this? It's insanity. It's a denial of reality. And what it is, it's a desperate attempt to keep the fraud going. And it will lead to hyperinflation, ultra extreme hyperinflation, and the collapse of the US dollar and the global financial structure and political economic structure as we know it today. This has happened before in history. Every time an empire fails and falls apart and its currency falls apart, it's the same routine. The leaders, the elites, cheat, steal, lie their population to the point where they can't take any more, so they try and create an illusion that everything's still okay, but things still fall apart. That's what happened with Rome, Greece, Egypt, Ottomans, all the empires you can think of. They all imploded in typically the same way. It degenerates into war and hyperinflation. In other words, the destruction of what you could call a society. Janet Yellen is literally insane. So keep an eye out. You may lose everything. If you are a really big player, you might lose everything. It might get wiped out, or your digital funds might be replaced by more fake money, and everything will appear to pay. Okay, and then if you are, let's say, incompetent or fraudulent, you can just be rewarded for continuing to be that way. But what effectively happens is this, okay? This announcement by Yellen, she's serious. Number one, it's a road to hyperinflation. You are rewarding moral hazard. You're rewarding the criminals, okay? You are endorsing infinite printing of money, which creates the hyperinflation. And you're endorsing the denial of responsibility by the banks to explain and cover the risk. It's pure insanity. It's all going to collapse. Perhaps that will happen on the eclipses, or the big eclipse on May 5th, okay? So just keep an eye out. A couple more things I wanted to pull up here. The Russia, Ukraine, China situation, from my perspective, looks ridiculous. It's a lot of grandstanding, and it's an opportunity for Xi Jinping to get on the big stage and start to doing what everyone else does who wants to be on top. Vote for me and I will save you. I'm going to save the world. I'm Xi and I have all the power now, and I'm going to save the world. I'm going to take it over, and I'm going to impose communism, tyranny, CBDCs, all of it on humanity. Remember, Xi Jinping wants all of it. He's not just trying to bolster up China. He wants all of it. He wants all the land, all the water, all the food, all the minerals, all the labor resources, all the technology from all across the world. That's what he wants. Okay? I'm not kidding. That's what he wants. That's his goal. It's sort of like an amplified version of the United States, the way the United States has spread U.S. hegemony across the world. People are sick of it. That's why there's a kind of an implosion right now. Anyway, it's sort of bizarre because the Ukraine-China-Russia thing is intractable right now. For Xi to make it look like he's a hero and a peacemaker, it means Ukraine has to back down and say, I'm going to stop the war and you can take over Russia. Russia, just take it on. Or Russia stops and says, okay, I'm very, very sorry. I didn't mean to bomb you and kill thousands of people. I'll stop and I'll pull back. Neither of those things are going to happen. You're still dealing with a bunch of thugs in a bar fight, and they can't help themselves. There's too much blood that's spilled, and they're going to keep going. She can't stop it. The other thing that I noticed was about how France is imploding, exploding, fire, millions of people's rioting. Again, that's just an example. France is very famous for hundreds and hundreds of years of riots and protests. That's what they love to do. It's exciting. It's fun. They're a very kind of incendiary, volatile population. Other parts of Europe are starting to get very, very unstable as well. Italy has, of course, Giorgia Meloni now as the president, prime minister, or whatever. And she's a hardcore nationalist, sort of like Donald. And she's got extreme popularity now over there. And the thing about Macron in France, he's an extreme hardcore commie, lefty, Marxist, New World Order, World Economic Forum stooge. And he's coming unglued. So I like it when those idiots, those elites, those little come unglued. I'm enjoying watching that. I'm also, the other thing is that kind of, where did I see it? Okay. Oh yeah, here's the other ones. Hold on. Okay, back over here in America, Biden very, very, very discreetly and quietly signed this COVID source release bill. Basically because he has to. He's really, really stuck. Biden is desperate right now to try and do something that looks important and genuine and honest, authentic, and real. But of course, signing it is sort of like signing his own death warrant. I'm not going to miss him. The way I see it, Biden and the Democrats are in deep trouble. They're showing acts of desperation, and the latest one is this bizarre, ridiculous farce, circus distraction with the attempt to prosecute Donald Trump with some trivial matter to do with confusion over a fake takedown. The young lady involved has actually already admitted that it was a whole freaking lie. And from Donald's perspective and Donald's attorneys, they just basically decided this is a nuisance. It's like swatting a fly. We're just going to have to pay money to make this whole thing go away. There's nothing bad, no crime was committed. Remember, I'm a supporter of DT, so I am biased towards DT. And I loathe people like Bragg. I loathe the Democrat Party. I loathe all the left-wing commie Marxist BS. I loathe it. The next thing I wanted to mention was this fellow DeSantis. Where is it? Everybody on the, let's say, conservative patriot wing is aware that DeSantis is a pretty awesome character. He's doing an excellent job, as far as I can tell, governing Florida. And it's obviously, power is very addictive. It's going to his head a little bit, and he can't help it. It's understandable. You have to be a bit larger than life to be able to run in these offices. Anyway, if you look at all the comments under some of his materials and stuff, all the comments are basically saying, Ron, you're an idiot if you run against Donald. You're going to split the vote. and undermine the chances for a healthy recovery for the patriots, conservatives, the MAGA movement. But Ron keeps getting sucked into these little ego games. He can't help it. I understand that. But he will be an absolute idiot if he runs. My personal view, I'm just going to share this, is that he's got a really, really important job to do right now in terms of governing Florida, and he's already contracted, so just get on with it. In order to run for president, he would have to resign as governor in Florida, and that's going to piss off a lot of people. He should just be doing his job. He's young. He can run for president decades from now, after Trump has done his work. So Ron is actually making a lot of Republicans angry for his grandstanding and his putting out his books and doing presentations around the country. Again, he can't help it. I don't blame him, but my comment, my personal opinion is that he'd be a freaking idiot if he runs. Another note, the whole China-Russia thing, it's all about, the reshuffling of the global tectonic plates with society. But the China-Russia thing is stuck. They are literally stuck. Because for them to do what they want to do, it involves extreme violence. That's it. I want to move on. Where was it? Yeah, hold on. I got that. I got that one. There's so much more out there. I apologize for these makeshift amateur videos, but I'm doing what I can to keep up with things. It's been really, really tough, but I'm going to keep going. It's Wednesday. I'm hoping to be back on Sunday evening and do a few live tarot readings, and I'll actually have some astrology charts. I really want to do a proper chart for the Aries new moon eclipse and the May 5th full moon eclipse. We'll do that. We have a little bit of time, okay? Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you get something out of this. Number 1, love thyself. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Thank you very much.